to commence.
The live streaming has commenced.
Thank you. Good evening, councillors, officers, and our viewers live streaming tonight's meeting. My name is Councillor Suzanne Newton. I'm the Mayor of Darebin City Council and the chairperson of tonight's special meeting. It's my pleasure to welcome you to tonight's council meeting. I declare this meeting open at 6:04 p.m. This meeting is being held virtually and is available for the public to watch via the live stream link on Council's webpage. Tonight's special council meeting has been called to consider the following confidential items. 1, the aged care single assessment tender feasibility, and 2, good governance and OHS. As these items are deemed confidential under Section 3(1) of the Local Government Act 2020, the meeting will be required to move into camera pursuant to Section 66(2). Pursuant to Section 1136 of the Governance Rules, unless all councillors are present and unanimously agree to deal with another matter, only the business specified in the notice calling the meeting is to be transacted. Councillors, may I remind you of the virtual meeting guidelines as follows. Please leave your camera on and remain on mute unless you wish to speak. If you wish to speak or ask a question, please raise your hand and leave it raised until you have my attention. When voting, please leave your hand raised until I've called the vote. Note, there is no chat facility available between participants of the Zoom meeting. I would first like to start by acknowledging the Wurundjeri Woi Wurrung people, the traditional owners of this land, and I pay my respects to elders past and present. I recognise their continuing connection to land, water and culture. I'd like to introduce the councillors and the senior staff who are with us this evening. We have Councillor Susan Rennie, Councillor Lena Messina, Councillor Trent McCarthy and Councillor Tom Hannon. Our officers in attendance tonight are Peter Smith, the CEO, Kylie Bennett, the General Manager Community, Carolyn Buisson, the General Manager Customer and Corporate, Rachel Olivier, the General Manager Operations and Capital, Vanessa Petrie, the General Manager City Sustainability and Strategy, and Anthony Smith, the Governance Advisor. We will now go on to apologies. So I do have an apology from Councillor Greco, and I believe an apology has come through from Councillor Dimitriadis, and we are at this stage expecting other councillors to join. So I'll go on to the next item, which is item 3, disclosures of conflicts of interest. Councillors and officers, are there any conflicts of interest or interests to declare? Councillor Messina.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to declare a conflict on the aged care item.
Thank you, Councillor Messina. Have I got any other conflicts of interest or interests to declare?
Through you, Mayor, myself and Jean would declare an interest but not a conflict on the aged care matter.
Thank you, Ms Bennett. I'll now go on to I'll first say, if any motion or amendment arises during the meeting that gives rise to a conflict of interest, I request the councillor or staff member advise me at that time. Item 4 is Council's occupational health and safety responsibilities. Council has an occupational health and safety responsibility to ensure anyone attending tonight's meeting feels safe both physically and emotionally. I would like to remind everyone in attendance to be respectful of each other, and as outlined in our governance rules, please note that councillors or any other person who addresses the meeting must do so in a courteous and respectful manner and must take direction from the chairperson whenever called on to do so. Councillors, there are no open reports to consider this evening, so we'll go on to item 6, and there are no urgent items to consider this evening. So we will go on to item 7, which is consideration of reports considered confidential. Councillors, we have 2 confidential items to be considered this evening. So we are now going to close off the meeting to the public. So in accordance with section 66(2) of the Local Government Act 2020, Council may resolve to close the meeting to members of the public to consider the items designated confidential in accordance with section 3(1) of the Act. Councillors, is there a mover of the recommendation to close the meeting to the public and move into a confidential meeting? Councillor Messina. Do I have a seconder for that item? Councillor McCarthy. All those in favour? That is carried unanimously. So we'll now just check. And just confirming we didn't need debate on that one. So I declare the motion carried unanimously. I declare the meeting closed to members of public at 6:08 p.m. and I request that officers please cease the live streaming.